Hey Sergio,
Hey guys.
we have Jackson Marquis. How should I pronounce your name?
It's Marquise.
Marquise. That's a very
Yeah.
unique name. Where are you from?
I'm from California, specifically Riverside.
Nice. So we have Sergio here. He is the host and he is in sub two and part of Owners Club as well. And then Jameer, also our partner. He is also in sub two and he focuses on commercial. So tell us a
What's up,
little bit
guys?
about you and see how we can help you.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty obviously new to everything. I recently got into like wanting to buy businesses and also buy houses on seller finance, creative finance. I've been watching Pace for like the last 2 to 3 years. I kind of got tired of like information and kind of wanted to take action. And so lately, I've been just trying to take as much action as possible. That's why I reached out to you in the first place, just so I can get acquainted with more people to try to hopefully
Mhm.
gain different partnerships and wherever I can provide value in other places that I can continuously learn and also actually put a dent and impact into the actual field of creative finance. And so right now, I'm working on a couple businesses that I'm talking to. I have no idea what I'm doing. Again, I'm just taking action. So I'm just talking to businesses right now, trying to structure seller finance deals, subject to deals within my local area. Of course, I'm not really looking out of state right now, but right now I'm looking at people I can just pull up on and have conversations with. So currently, I'm working with two businesses and one property for creative finance currently. And so I guess what I'm looking for is somebody who can help me with this. Whether I can personally buy it, that'd be great, right? Or I can wholesale it off to somebody who would do, much more than I would. So I'm just kind of like taking action, shooting in the dark until something lands.
All right, I'll step in here. So thanks again for coming here. And what you're doing already is what most people won't do, which is taking the action. Even though you just said yourself, you don't even know what you're doing, but you ain't gonna learn unless you actually put yourself to the test. And these are the times where you're gonna have questions where now is the time to bring them to the table, and then we get these figured out and kind of plan your way here. When you're saying you're feeling stuck, what is it about it that's stuck, like putting you in a spot that's, not really moving?
I guess being credible and also having the financial capital to back it up. A lot of these guys want to know, how much money you got down, or they want to know like how many deals have you done. Me not having done neither. I get stuck at that point to where sometimes I'll be honest with you guys, I'll lie and say, "Oh, I've done 10 deals," right? And then the experience isn't there, so they instantly know that off the rip by the
So
fruit.
right, so right there, that's the number one mistake that I'm gonna tell a lot of people, especially for the first time. Don't ever lie. Don't
Right,
ever try to convince, especially agents or investors, something that you're not. They can smell it from a mile away.
right,
You're actually going to be very surprised when you come into an approach of just being transparent and saying, I'm new. I actually don't know what I'm doing. Agents will actually appreciate that more and want to help you.
right,
So if you go right off the get-go and just say, hey, listen, I'm new, I'm just starting out here, but I also just want to understand how can I be of service? How can I help you? Because I'm hungry, I'm willing to learn. I just kind of need somebody to hold my hand and go from there. Agents will be more than happy to help you out. Sellers, if you're going direct to seller, and again, same thing. If you're being transparent, they're going to do the same thing. They know that you don't have experience, but to them, they got nothing to lose. If you're just going to be
yeah,
another word of mouth that's going to be able to get their property or whatever it is that they're listing out there, it's to no loss to them. If anything, it's just more network, it's more word of mouth, right? So
right.
tell me about the deals or these businesses that you're working on, or at least that you're looking at.
One of them is a automotive and repair shop mixed with a body shop as well. It's in San Diego currently, and you're actually right, Sergio. I did take the approach after the lie part of just being honest, and I actually got a lot further. I talked to the seller. He's a really cool guy. He hasn't listed the property yet, so it is an off-market property, but he does plan on listing it. So we're talking about right now. We're talking about how it's structured, how he wants, down payment. We haven't talked numbers, but we just say that he's looking to become a farmer. He wants to step away from the business. He's only selling the assets, so he's not going to sell like any of the debt. He actually wanted to get rid of the name. You come with your own name, et cetera, et cetera. and the other guy has a trucking company throughout the U.S. And same thing with him as well. Willing to walk away from the business. His brother has a tow company, but his brother's in surgery right now. So right now, when his brother comes back, he actually planning to sell his tow trucking company to me as well. So I just been kind of structuring. Okay, how much money do these guys potentially want down? Where do I get the capital to put the money down? There's no investors who want to invest into these things. I would love to potentially own one myself. I'm 27 years old. I just moved out of my own house with my wife and my daughter, moved back into her parents' house so I can save up more, have a better structure, better foundation.
Okay, so all of this is good to me. Sounds very appealing. And one thing that you have to understand is follow up is number one. All
Right.
deals come up from follow up. And genuinely speaking, from experience, why do you think these sellers want to work with you?
It's
And
pretty
you
consistent.
told them, well, that too, but you told them that you're new, right? You
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
know. They rather work with you. Why? Because someone that's new starting out into the real estate and wanting to invest compared to somebody that's been doing this for 5 years, who's more hungry? Who's willing to do more work? The new
Right.
guy,
That's true.
right? And what are they avoiding? Paying agent fees, right?
Right.
To them, why can't somebody just do this, advertise it for them, structure a deal, learn as they go, and put more money in the seller's pocket, not having to pay fees, right? Not having
Right.
to list it, right? So it's really all in your favor. It just you have to just make sure that you take this in the right direction and not do your sellers wrong. You have to
Right.
build that relationship and the trust so that they know that genuinely it's for their best interest. You want to do something to help them. And with you wanting to potentially buy these businesses, the way I would look at this, the way I would structure it, how can I structure this for myself, for this to work for me financially, where it's not going to put me in the hole? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I would look at it. I wouldn't even look at wholesaling it. I wouldn't try to list this at all. If this is something that you genuinely want to take on, well, let's figure it out, right? Let's see
Right.
how can we make this work, right? So this is where you got to start, and from there you're going to pivot and go in the directions that essentially you need. Maybe when you start running the numbers, you're going to start realizing that I can't make this work. That doesn't mean you walk away. That just means I don't want it for me, but this can work for somebody else. Now you start structuring it as a wholesale, right? Or you start
Right.
structuring it to an end buy. Like there's so many ways, but right now you take what you have and make it work for you, or at least try.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
tell me about it more and let's see how we can make which one would you want for yourself?
Honestly, right now I would love to have the auto repair shop. I kind of
Okay.
grew up buying and selling cars. First, that's kind of how I started flipping cars. After like I got into like learning about real estate, so I would say about probably 2 3 years ago, flipping cars for a while. So when this deal came up, I was actually pretty intrigued with it because it's an auto repair shop slash body shop. I just like cars, and it's in San Diego. It's about an hour 20, hour 30 from where I'm at, and so it's a good of a bit of a drive. But like I said, what else am I doing? So right now, the auto repair shop is kind of like the best bet for me right now. The tow company, yeah, but I don't want to put too much on myself. Kind of want to start somewhere.
Do you know numbers? Do you know what he's expecting to get or what he's
Yeah,
looking at?
he's asking 250. I didn't get all the numbers from him because I was still like talking to him, but he's asking 250K for the business. I did recently make a buy box. I don't want a business over 500K. I just feel like that'd be too much for me to handle as a new beginner. Um, but he's asking 250.
Nothing is ever too much. Money and dollar signs are never too much. It's about how you
Right.
structure the deal.
Right.
You can make that $250,000 business struggle just as much as a $5 million business, vice versa. You can make a $5 million business be little to no money out monthly if you structure it properly, as if you did the $250,000 business. You follow?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's okay. You know a number. So now you're starting with purchase price 250. Do you know if he's open to creative seller finance? Does he want just a straight cash deal?
Yeah, he's open to seller financing the property. I talked to him about it. I didn't get what he wants down. I just asked him, "Hey, would you be willing to take payments on the property, some type of creative deal?" He said 100%. But
So he
he's
owns the real estate.
He doesn't. He leases the property. It comes with
Ah,
all the stuff inside the
okay.
building.
So
Yeah.
he's just selling is just the business portion. That's it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
There's still a lease in place.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to find out is how much that lease is, right? And
Right.
then you got to see is how much he's making, what you're going to have to ask him for his P&Ls, right?
Right.
And then you're going to have to see is how much that brings in monthly versus how much is going out for the lease, the rent, the
Right.
electricity, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. And then you add in his terms for his portion, the 250, right?
Right.
Start with everything else first once you get the numbers before you even start talking about the 250, because if that already doesn't cash flow, if that already fails, what does that tell you? The deal's no good,
Right.
right? So now if you're
Right.
able to make it work with, again, as if you own the business free and clear, $0 to you, does his business support the numbers that are going to be coming out every month, right? Now it's going
Right.
to show you how much is left over in either the positive or the negative. From there, now you can say, hey, I can only pay you this much a month because I need to cash flow this much. I'm not going to go and take this business on to already be in a negative. So let's say
Right.
you have, we're just going to say easy numbers, $1,000. Okay. From what he's showing you on his P&Ls of his income coming in, you're left with $1,000,
Right.
right? Now you got to say, okay, well, I can't pay him $1,000 a month because then I'm left with nothing. Now you structure the deal to then stretch out the payments so that you're at least keeping that, I would say 75% of that remaining for yourself, because you
Right.
need reserves if something happens, if a pipe bursts or whatever, right? You don't know if that's in the landlord's contract, right? These are things that you have to do in your due diligence period.
Right. Right.
Okay. Am I losing you? You're still follow.
No, I'm following. I'm following.
Good, good. So this is really the steps that you would take to then know whether this business works for you or not. All right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I did ask him about how much he made after everything. He said around 10 grand per month.
Per
His
month.
average. Yes.
Okay. Do you know what he makes
Yes.
annually?
I asked him what he makes a year. He wasn't sure. He said off the top of his head. He said around the last 2 years, 400. So I'm assuming maybe 200 around there. If he meant 200 each year or 400 a year, I'm not sure. He does have two employees that's been there for 5 to 6 years each, and they plan to stay there as well.
Well, if you're saying that he's making 10,000 a month, simple
Yeah.
math, that's 120,000,
Right.
right? That's what he nets. So his
Yeah.
NOI is 120.
Right.
So now if you're saying that he's making 400, that just goes to show you how much his expenses are, right? Minus
Yeah.
the 120 from the 400, that tells you right there that's how much his expenses are,
Right.
right? And then to know the cap rate too, just again, simple numbers is the purchase price, sorry, the amount that he makes NOI divided by the purchase price times that by 100, and that will give you the percentage for the cap rate.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
So.
You don't really, well, investors don't really touch anything under 8. It's kind of like the lowest that they would go. Anything above 10 or more, ideally, that is a very good number to go off of.
Right.
Uh, is Precious still here? Because Precious should be listening to this for sure if she's talking about RV parks. Um, could you say how to figure out the cap rate again? So the cap rate is whatever they make yearly, so their NOI divided by their purchase price times by 100. But that's not to say that's the cap rate right from the beginning. You still got to do your due diligence, run the numbers, and make sure that everything actually lines up, because sellers will exaggerate their numbers. They will tell you that the cap rate's 12%, and then once you actually underwrite it, it's going to be 6.5 to 6%. So it's always important to still underwrite and run the numbers.
Right. Okay.
Okay? How's
All
that?
right.
How's that for you? I don't want to overload you with too much either, right? Just one thing at a time.
No, that's
Because
good. That's good. I will
yeah,
just um so I'm gonna get more acquainted with him. He wants me to come down to the shop sometime next week.
that's good
So
news. That's
yeah, he
very
wants
good
me to come
news.
down and check it out. So I guess what I'm learning right now is kind of what to ask them because I didn't know how to structure. I'm not gonna lie, I was using ChatGPT right now to figure out how to like what questions should I ask about buying a business. You know what I mean? So
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Why
this
not?
helps me out right here though.
Well, use Claude. I would suggest you because ChatGPT, from my experience, Claude gives you a better answer, and
Uh,
it actually automatically prompts you. Like you can give the prompt says, "Ask me any questions that you need to fine tune the questions that I need to ask."
yeah, on Claude. So that's pretty much like what um, OpenClaw. So with that,
I haven't used OpenClaw personally, but I am like using Claude and ChatGPT simultaneously. So
okay,
when I want to dump ideas, I use ChatGPT.
right,
And then I would use ChatGPT's answer, I would put in Claude.
okay,
So then it gives me a more refined answer.
yeah, right,
And whatever documents I feel that if I need some documents prepared, I feel Claude has a better structure in that sense. But obviously,
yeah.
you got to verify. You always, because it's AI, so all the information you got to check and verify. But it's just that giving you proper layout format already helps you with, save you with a lot of time.
And so, Sergio, when I go out there, I should ask for a P&L, and like you said earlier, just kind of go over all the expenses about the
Expenses.
lease, everything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, just tell him, just be like, I'm interested. If he's willing to sell and he's going to be straight up with you, he's not going to hide anything. He will be more than happy to give you those numbers. He will make sure that the numbers work for you if he wants to work with you.
Okay.
If he's already telling you to come to his shop and meet him in person, I think that's already a good sign. So he's already willing to work with you, and now it's you are literally with the ball on in your courts in your hands where you tell him, how can we make this work for me? Tell him your situation. Don't lie. Be transparent with him. Let him know what you got going on. He will want to help you because he doesn't want his business anymore, right? I'm pretty sure he'd want to know who's taking over his business, especially if he's been having this business running for years. He doesn't want to just give it up to anybody.
Exactly.
So this is a very good relationship to build and go off of.
Perfect.
That's the key to this, building relationships.
100%.
Right on. Okay. And what about you guys? So you guys are in a sub two group.
Yeah, some of us, yeah,
You guys have bought any like properties or in businesses yet, or in contracts, or what's you guys'
all the
experience like?
time.
I guess being in.
I have a background of wholesaling, and now I just been pivoting away
Uh-huh.
into becoming the buyer. So now I'm buying things and keeping them and holding them for myself.
At what time did you know it was like the right time to pivot from like wholesale to just being a buyer?
Don't really know. It just, I don't know, random. You just, yeah, when the time feels right, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll just know. But again, I'm not to say I will not wholesale. I still will wholesale. If I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want it for myself, just gonna wholesale it. Why am I gonna walk away from money? If I can make money, if I can make $1,000, why not?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now I was asking that because I tried wholesaling probably a couple years ago, but it just was too hard for me. Talking to sellers was the first fear I had to overcome. Once I overcome that, my numbers was wrong. Right. I'm trying to get a ARV on a property, trying to find the last sold. No house has sold in the last 15 years. Square footage are wrong. Like it just became an issue. Then trying to find an end buyer, mainly was finding wholesalers. Now you're giving them their contracts, so it got pretty much a headache for me. So I ended up like walking away and like, you know what? What if I skip wholesale and then went straight to just buying it? Like I would say, get into a better financial state and buying it. But so that's why I was asking you, like, how'd you know to make the switch? But yeah, I guess it just happens.
Everyone's situation is different, right?
Yeah.
What works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me,
And
right?
Right.
Everybody's situation is different, but wholesaling is always good because it's quick cash. When I say quick cash, I don't mean you're going to get paid today or tomorrow, but it's just a quicker transaction. People get
Right.
that mixed up sometimes when they hear about today's money. They think they're really going to sell a deal today and get money wired sent to them in that moment. It doesn't work like that. It still takes some time. It's just the more quicker transaction that happens frequently. Now, going back to what you were saying about the wholesaling years ago, let me ask you, did you introduce yourself as a buyer, as an investor? Most likely.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
There
sure.
you go. That's
For
why
sure.
you failed, because you
For
lied.
sure. Yeah.
Right out. That's the number one mistake to always do as a wholesaler, and I don't know why wholesalers do that. They will get on the phone with an agent or a seller, and first thing they say is, "I'm a buyer. I'm an investor." Right? Oh,
I guess that's the foundation of how I learned it. You know what I mean? That I'm
I
trying to
will
get out of it.
I will bet you that if you call 10 people, okay, out of
Mm.
those 10 people, 8 of them will stay on the phone talking to you if you tell them that you're brand new, you're starting out, but you're wanting to learn and you're willing to put in the time. 8 of those 10 will stay on the phone with you. You do the same thing, call those same 10 people, you tell them that you're a buyer or an investor, I can guarantee
Mm.
you might not even get one to stay on the phone with you.
Right.
Especially agents. Agents will hang up on you without a doubt.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Even the thing is, yeah, even if you are an investor, they see you as a threat. And agents do not like investors. Think about it. If an agent knew what they were doing, why wouldn't they be just buying all the properties themselves? Why are they listening to them?
True. That is a true point.
They are the worst people to give advice when it comes to investing because ask how many properties they own. None.
Right.
But they're listing properties every day. And they're giving you advice on what you should buy and where you shouldn't buy. Why would you take advice from an agent? Right?
So you almost got
So
an advantage of being a new guy, essentially.
100%. I still to today use that same line every time I call someone. I'm brand new.
Right.
That is literally my opening line. When somebody picks up the phone, I say, I'm brand new. I'm sorry if I ask dumb questions here, but I'm just trying to figure this out. I work for so and so. I'm in acquisitions, and I'm just trying to see if I'm able to line this up with a buyer. I work for an investor who's looking to buy some properties, and I'm trying to see if I can maybe set them up. Can I set you up with an appointment? Done.
Mm.
That it's literally that easy. It is that easy. Anybody that says they can't do it, they just are lazy. They don't want to put in the effort.
Right.
Cold
So
calling is probably the easiest thing to do as a newbie. People that come up with excuses and saying it's hard, they just don't want to do it.
yeah. So if I was to
Yeah,
find a deal, would I bring it to you guys?
absolutely. Why not? But again, how do you know it's a deal?
You're right. So I guess I have to find you guys' criteria first.
You got it. There you go. Right. So you got to find is who your buyers are first. And from there, then you go to the market. You don't start calling because what happens when you get a property under contract, what are you gonna do with it? Right? You got to go
Yeah,
find the buyers. Well, you know that you have time on that contract. It will expire. You know that you got to actually put EMD down to hold that contract. What happens if you are not able to find a buyer and the contract expires? Bye bye EMD money. That ain't coming back to you.
yeah,
So find a buyer first. Work backwards. That's what I would say. Just go backwards and then go and get the calls done.
got you.
Right? Because think about more about how confident you would be knowing someone who has a property that fits exactly and checks all the boxes of the buyer that you're looking for. When you get off that call, what do you already know? When you pick up the phone to call your buyer and you have something that checks off all the boxes, you're calling with confidence. I have a deal for you.
For sure. Right.
So you already know. You're just now setting it up and it's done.
That
Rather
makes
than
more
guessing
sense.
and trying to figure out, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I have a buyer for this. Who do I call? Right? So start from buy box first.
Okay.
And again, investors, they like new people. Why? Because they know they will call hundreds of people a day until they get a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Investors like newbies because they will put in the time. So you ask them the questions, they will be more than happy to answer them for you.
Right. Okay.
Also, if you need help with calling, Jameer, it's great with sellers. You should definitely reach out to him. He might be able to help you on the phone. And also, one thing is that when you talk to seller or buyer or broker, whatever, let them talk because it's a really powerful tool. The more you stay silent, the more things are going to spill. So when you don't know about the area, like Sergio was saying that I'm completely brand new, even if you're not, because market changes all the time and they stay up to date with the market. Like Sergio does wholesaling nationwide. He couldn't possibly know every market update every single day, right? He would depend on the agent or the broker or the seller to tell them. He will listen and then verify later. But if you keep telling them how good you are, basically, or you cannot keep your mouth shut, then basically you're losing the window to have them spill information at you, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Jameer, do you want to help Marquise out on like talking to seller? Just maybe work out something to see if we can help.
Yeah, for sure. Feel free to send me a text. My number is right on my that's my number right next to my name. Send me a text.
All right. Let me see if I can.
I will also add to what they're saying, and this is just like a personal development tip. Never
Mhm.
focus on the problem, focus on how you can solve the problem. Like me personally, every time I hit it, like for example, capital raising, that you can sit there and tell yourself, I can't do this, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't have to be hard. You can literally just say, okay, how can I do this? What do I need to do to get myself to that point where I can be a wholesaler? Because technically, wholesaling is an exit strategy. So you're buying a business, you're buying real estate, as they say in both fields, because generally they're both like the process is still the same. The terms are a little bit different. Operations may be a little bit different. Expenses are different, but the process of acquisition, dispo, generally the same. You go wholesale a business, you go hold you can hold a bit, you can buy and hold a business, you can do all of these things. The question always is going to be, how can I? So that way you can psychologically come up with a solution.
Right.
Jameer, you could even buy a note for a business and sell that note, correct?
Yeah, why not? It's an
There
exit
you go.
strategy.
Yeah.
Anything is possible, especially once you got those relationships lined up. You tell people what's going on, you tell people what you're doing. This is I had to learn this myself. Being authentic is going to be your superpower. That's what people are selling to.
Mhm.
They're selling to you. Because remember, at the end of the day, you're running a business. So if you bought into a business that's telling lies, how would you feel once that lie came out? You would feel lied to. You'd
Right.
be like, nah, I'm not purchasing your
Right.
product no more.
Yeah.
But if you bought from a business telling the truth, you're like, okay. Like, and they made a mistake. They've been telling the truth the whole time. They just made a mistake. I could support that. Like, okay, everybody makes mistakes, so that's like my tidbit. That's literally stuff that I went through along my journey, is just being authentic and consistently asking yourself, how can I get to that next level? Because your brain is just feeding off of the conversation that you're having inside of yourself.
Right.
So if you like, I literally, and I tell this to Sergio and Minnie all the time. Anytime I hop on the call, my kids are involved. I'd rather them, I have 6-year-olds, I'd rather them use profanity than say the word can't, because I understand the psychological detriment that the word can't has on the mind.
Mm. Mm.
So,
Wow.
that's my little tidbit to kind of get you to that next level when you feel like you've hit a ceiling and you don't know where to go next. How can I? And Chat GPT or whatever AI you want to use, perfectly fine. I use it to see, and it just opens the door. It just allows me to say, to just kind of process my thoughts, get feedback, and then I can go to someone else and bounce that idea off of them, because somebody who has experience, bounce that idea
Right.
off of them. They can give me feedback based on experience. I literally text my mentor earlier this week. I asked ChatGPT, but I asked him because he has the experience
Look,
for sure.
I'm gonna use something as an example, especially now that we're on the topic of ChatGPT. In the side chat, I have Precious asking Sergio, when you say buying a note with a question mark, what do you think she could do with ChatGPT? You could simply ask ChatGPT, what does it mean to buy a note from a business? What do you think ChatGPT is going to do? It's going to spit out the answer, right? These are the little things that we can do ourselves where we don't need to rely on somebody else to give us a whole crash course, right? Because when you do things like that and you ask ChatGPT for a simple question like this, again, this is just an example, you now have something to go off of, because now you're going to be getting answers to a question that you had no idea, right? And now from there, you're going to now build a series of questions, because you're just like, I didn't know you can do this and I didn't know you can do that. Well, yeah, you can actually buy multiple notes and sell the package of 10 notes to an investor as one, right? But you wouldn't know about this unless you actually asked ChatGPT or whatever a simple question as, what does it mean to buy a note from a business? Right. So again, this is just an
Mhm.
example. Like, we have to start realizing that we can lean on AI for a lot of things. A lot. It is a starting point to get you started to where you got to go. Right.
Mm.
So, Precious, I hope I answered your question actually, like that.
Um, so I just want to touch a little bit on Marky's background. So Jameer, so he has background on single family home. He had creative structure single family home, but have not touched base in commercial. So I would say you have the basic Marky, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that because commercial or like multifamily home, when I'm talking about multifamily home, it's 5 doors up. So when the bank comes to evaluate the property, it's not the how much the property itself worth. It's more like how much it will generate the cash flow. So that is where the term commercial. When when people tell me multifamily homes, I automatically think about commercial. And I have people coming and like it's multifamily home, but it's only 3 doors. So you got to be careful on asking them to define like how many doors do you have? Because when it's like,
Right.
more than two, they're already putting it in multifamily home. But in fact, in my dictionary, I don't know whether it's like a broad definition term, multifamily is 5 doors up where we can use commercial loan and whatnot to structure the deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to go off of that, there's different levels of multifamily. You got small multifamily, which doesn't satisfy commercial. That's your duplex, triplex, your quadplex. Once you hit five, you're in the different. That's like going from high school to college, D1. It's a whole different game, whole different, slightly different language. But when you get to the lender aspect, it becomes slightly different because now they're looking at it as a business, and that's what Minnie was alluding to. They're starting to look at it as a business versus running the numbers as a residential property.
Okay.
Your credit starts to become lower on the totem pole. They still gonna pull your credit, but it's a business. So they look at the credit you personally last, and then but they start at the business level first because you're purchasing a business. And when you hit that 5 point, I would say 5 to about like 40, that's like medium. That's a big gap, but within that medium, it's kind of like socioeconomical classes. Like you got middle class, you got lower middle class, and then you got upper middle class. That's kind of what that is. And then you got large, which is your 50 plus. And that's different. Would I say stay away from it? No. But I did want to ask you, do you still have your single family homes or you got rid of those?
That I'm working on.
Well, many say you had single family background.
Oh, well, not like personally owning them, just like trying to structure, like to like buy one.
Got you. Okay. What I, what do you want?
Well, I want to buy one to live in it because I want to start my investor portfolio. That's what I really want to do. I've been looking at Pace's um, Instagram posts and like the houses he gets on seller finance with the down payments. I want to do that. I want to buy one, possibly live in it or live somewhere else, buy one and rent it out. And I want to start my portfolio with creative finance specifically, just so I feel like I can leverage more the more capital I have backing up behind me. I feel like it's like a good way to leverage and to grow in my field of real estate. So that's what I want to do.
So you want a house hack?
Yeah.
That's what some in some communities that's what they call it. Like that, it's kind of a new term.
Right.
So you want
Yeah.
a house hack?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I guess how much would you want to make off of that?
I mean, I like the monthly payments for sure. I think it was more so for me about like what I can generate over some time. If I can over the next 10 years when I turn 37 years old, um, have about 20 to 40 properties maybe under my belt. Whatever
When?
they cash flow right
When?
within like the next 10 years.
Okay. If you came across a way to move faster, would you take it?
100%. 100%. Right now I just
So
don't know a way. So yeah.
one, ChatGPT. Two, pod, Robert Kiyosaki podcast. That's what got me moving quicker
Right.
because your goal, you could decrease your goal if you actually became massively focused. You could still house hack and you can move quicker than 10 years. Do you really want to take 10 years to accomplish that goal?
Probably not, because I mean, you don't know if you'll make it 10 years, right? So sooner the better.
You don't. Right. So then once again, as we said earlier, it's all comes down to relationships. So like I said, you said you wanted the house hack. You can do, and if you can, what if you could do that? And I'm literally planting seeds.
Yeah,
Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm taking you off the deep end.
you good.
You can house hack. What if you could house hack a commercial property? Would you take that opportunity? A
I
10
would.
unit a 10 unit multi apartment building. Would you take that opportunity?
I would. To be honest, I would, but it'd definitely be a bit nerve-wracking for me because I've never done it, and also it's a big responsibility.
Forget the emotional aspect. We just talk about facts right now. I'm literally taking you through a personal development piece right now. We
All
forget the
right, all right,
emotions.
all right. I got
Forget
you.
the
Yeah,
emotions. And I went through this process myself, so that's why I'm taking you through this process. And a
right.
game helped me go through this process. Okay, if you could
Okay,
house hack a 10 unit apartment building, would you do it?
absolutely,
If you could hack a 50 unit apartment building, would you do it?
absolutely.
So now what is your next question?
How do I do it?
There you go. Your answer is your question. And you just keep running that cycle of my answer being your question until you get to your destination.
I'm figuring out how to do it.
Correct.
Mhm.
Got
So
you.
what really got me on moving in my direction,
Mm,
figure out your vision, sit down with yourself, figure out what it is you want, figure out when you want it. Okay, you said 10 years. We just went through this. Okay, we didn't get the dollar amount, which is what I was looking for, but we got a starting point. You want certain amount of properties in 10 years. What if
right.
what if you didn't get the properties, but you got the doors? Is that the same?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. It's the same. You get the same amount of bread, if not more.
Right.
Now, okay, 10 years. And I ask myself this question every single day. How can I cut that in half?
Mm,
Okay, I got that. I could show you my board right now. Crazy. I got it mapped out for the next 5 years. Because all I did was I started with an end goal and I work backwards. It's because it's just math. It's really just math. Like once we take the emotions out of it, it's just math. So if you could
right.
figure out your end goal and you could put some numbers on that, figure out where you need to be, the next spot is let me work backwards. And then how can I cut that in half? Like because you know the numbers. So if your number, let's say you wanted the cash flow $2,000 a month, is a four place going to do that for you?
It should, right? Like 500 a door on top of whatever you got to pay for mortgage.
Well, you live in one because you said your strategy is house hacking.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So probably not.
And then what if a tenant moves out?
Definitely not.
There's a possibility that you're going to have to start paying money out of your pocket.
Right.
So does that work?
No, that don't work.
All right then. So now we just chopping at the tree right now. That's what we doing right now. I'm literally just
Right.
taking you through my own process. We chopping at
Right.
the tree that don't work. So now we got to figure out what does work. Okay, I want to be able to have my building, live in it if I need to, right? Because that's another question. What do I need and what do I want? Can I stay? You said you in your wife's your
Parents' house.
mother-in-law's spot?
Yep.
Okay. So what's your timeline? Do I need the cash or can I hold out just a little bit and focus on something else that's gonna get me what I really want and what I need? Because if you need cash flow and you got time, that's a different conversation than okay, I got a deadline and I need this by this time. Because yes, I would say, okay, go for something smaller so you can get that quicker. But if
Right.
you got time, you got a little bit of time, that means you can focus on relationships. Therefore, you can focus on something even bigger. You could do the same thing and get the money that you want.
Right.
And then you got to
And when you
ask
say
yourself, do you want to do multifamily?
right,
Because commercial, different game. Massive, there's 8 different asset classes.
dang.
So once again, the question is, what do you want? That will be your homework. What do you want? Figure out what you want,
And
work
why do you
backwards.
want it?
And why do you want it? That's the biggest part. Why do you want it? Figure out your vision. Create your vision and work backwards. Find the numbers.
Because I want to ask
Work
you,
backwards.
sorry, go ahead.
Nah, go ahead. Do your thing. I'm
No,
I'm a,
because I
I'm a,
want
I'm a
to
step
ask
by my step.
Marquise, why do you want to have a investor portfolio? Because number one, why does it matter so much? Is it just going to be a leverage? Because I want to throw you something very practical. If you're going to do house hack, I don't know if this reality actually is being promoted, but a house, it doesn't matter how you structure it, you're going to get cash flow, obviously. But do you have to do maintenance? do you have to do property management yourself? Because we don't, like, if you have 10 houses in every different corners, are you going to drive over and manage the property yourself? Or do they each generate enough net income that allows you to hire a property manager? That is the one thing that I don't want to have another job, let alone, having tenant call me at 3 a.m. in the morning to unclog toilet or something, right?
Right.
So this is like, if your house hacking is just because you want the cash flow, it might be quite disappointing. Because there are oftentimes, like Jameer was saying, what if the tenant moves out? Doesn't matter if it's like fourplex, right? Because when we're doing the numbers game, is you don't know when you're going to get another tenant in. Number one. Number two, when the tenant moves out, can you guarantee it's a pristine condition, or you're going to have to renovate it? So when you step into a multifamily, you want 10 houses, so 10 doors. When the commercial loan, it's giving you a different side of game to play on, like you have more room to navigate. Because the thing is, the effort you spend is actually the same, right? The time that you look for a house for yourself or to look for multifamily home, it's the same. The way you underwrite it, that might be slightly different, but eventually the effort is going to be the same. So if you were to spend your effort on a small property, why don't you amplify the effort and then just to put in a multifamily home? Where if you have 10 or even more tenants, 10 more doors, you can actually hire a property manager or just have them to stay in there. If you know the tenant well, one of the RV park hacks that Pace teach is that they hire someone on site and maybe give them like a cheaper rent, or even let them to live there rent free, to have, like, if the person's handy enough, right? Then they can
Yeah.
also manage the property themselves. So then that saves you time to find another property manager. So this is something very practical that you got to take into account. And the and you would have actually a higher equity from a commercial property versus your house hack. I don't like, even Pace has given up a lot of his single family home.
Right.
Unless you want to turn them into co-living, that's another strategy. That is another thing that you may want to explore if you want to do single family home, because that's another criteria that you got to be looking into. But otherwise, you want to think about, what do I do? Like, what if, things broken down? Am I going to personally attend to it? Because that's, even if you have a system, at the end of the day, if something's broken or something's messed up, you still have to personally attend to it. Can you take the time off to attend your 10 plus properties? Or is like, oh, okay, you know what? I just have a property manager to take a look at. Right.
Right. Right.
That's something practical that you want to have a think about. And obviously, the why. Because to me, having a portfolio, having the credibility, it's great. But then why do you want that? Is it because you want to expand into having an empire, or you just feel good, like, hey, you know what? I'm an LP myself. So do I just go up and show off, hey, I have, like, 30 properties under my belt. What is your why? And then your end goal as like NOI, what is it? The net income every month. How can you get that in the shortest period of time? Because Elon Musk says that if you can get things that, like, if you set your goal for 10 years, you're gonna take your time. But if you have to time it, like if you set it for 10 months, then you're gonna think of a way to achieve it in 10 months. So it's like your work, right? If your boss says, "Oh, I'll give you until next week," you'll take your time. But if he's saying, like, give it to me on Monday, then you're gonna squeeze every bit of your time to get it done by Monday. So it's psychology.
Right.
Yeah.
And another question I would add to that too is, um, does what you want out of real estate match? Is that realistic for your life? Because I had to switch what I was looking at. I had to switch to industrial. One, it fits my goals. Two, it fits my lifestyle. Multifamily, once again, different, completely different. They're all different, and they all have great benefits, and they all have certain trade-offs. So that's another question that you would have to ask, because you in single family homes, duplex, quadplex, all of that. That's like it ain't nothing outside of that. It's either you got one door or you got one door all the way to four doors.
Right.
But once you get into commercial, like I said, you add an extra door, get a completely different process because you jumped the fence, and now we talking a different language. So
Right.
just make sure that if you're going to go commercial, I'm not trying to sway you in any way. If you do consider commercial, make sure whatever asset class you look at is going to benefit the lifestyle that you're trying to obtain.
Right.
So that could literally just be if you don't have anybody in that circle, that could just be a conversation between you and Chat GPT. And you can, or whatever AI. I keep saying Chat GPT because I use Chat GPT.
Yeah.
But you can use any AI, and you could, just like Minnie said, you could tell it to prompt you. You can tell it to ask you individual questions and wait for you to answer the question before moving on to the next one. So that way it
Right.
can start building out a profile for you.
Right. Okay. All right. No, yeah, I think the why do you want it and what do you want was great for sure. And I like what you took me through as far as like you know, kind of like knowing the number and like how soon and all that, because I didn't think about it from, I guess, like cutting it in half. I just thought about it from like, all right, in 10 years, it's kind of where I want to be. The reason why I think I kind of do know why already though is because I've been having like this I've been wanting to become an investor for a long time, simply for the fact that I want to help people out. And I know I can help people out in many other ways than just being an investor, but I feel like there's a certain stigma on investors right now that I can't change the world, but I want to have a different impact on. And I feel like the ideas, the creativeness within my mind, I can implement that into things that I own that I feel could be more beneficial to certain families, or certain cities, or certain places. Same thing with businesses. I want to acquire more businesses and then upgrade them, help them out, make them a better system, and then sell them again. You know what I mean? I don't have a real attachment to any of this. It's more so for the fact of how can I provide much value into something that I've been doing and taking it seriously, and then you just add value to it, and then let somebody else who's serious about it, take it and kind of run with it. So that's kind of like the main thing for me now. But I'm ready to just get my feet wet and fail faster is what I've been seeing. You know what I mean? Do as much as I can to get to that next level.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you a personal story. If you want to help people out, if you know that there are actually a lot of multifamily homes that are due for loan this year, and I'm like I said, I'm personally an LP, and it's just interesting because I'm also very new. I'm not going to lie. I'm very new in this area. I am learning from Sergio and Jameer as well. The After I invested in that property, it's like 396 units in San Antonio.
Mhm.
Already, fund transferred and everything. So the next step is really giving it to Fannie Mae to like go on the loan process. And I thought it's a done deal, right? Because you have passed on to information and it's waiting for the close process because you already given them the fund. So turns out after 2 months, it's like still no news or whatsoever. The management company emailed me, says that they have taken on another project, which is like 420 something units in medical instead. So I asked what's going on, and they said apparently that the previous property that we were interested in, they ended up in foreclosure. It sounds very
Mhm.
tragic. All like imagine like the owner has multiple portfolios. So
Right.
multi-properties, like, a few hundred units each of them, all for under foreclosure. And then and then there are different companies going on bidding. So we're not talking about just one person living in one unit, right?
Right.
There will be multiple person living in those units. So if you wanted to help those people, you can totally get onto the multifamily home train because that actually helps more people, right? Because if you want to be like, obviously, I'm not saying that you got to get onto it, like jump onto 300 units now.
Yeah,
But then if you understand what I'm trying to say,
I
is
do.
that if you're going to help, there are actually a bunch of people in that building. If you can help them from, just taking over the property, doing creative finance and whatnot, that could have like if maybe I don't know what happened, obviously within the deal. Also, that is a lesson that when a deal is not actually close, there can still be changes. So it's not nothing is guaranteed. So this is something that I just learned in this
Right.
your real estate aspect. So if you make yourself, if you're at the level of, okay, you know what, I can be a key principal, I can now fundraise for big units now, then you can actually jump in and help these pre-foreclosure or buildings in foreclosure that can actually help more people. So I am trying to help you to shorten your mission and goal and to have so if you can reach out, like if you can do fundraising, it's going to be a little harder, but then if you do a little more work now, you can enjoy your life later, then wouldn't you
Yeah.
rather do it now because you're so young, right? So if you
Right.
can do capital raising, learn about that. That is a valuable skill set to learn. That's why build relationships, don't lie, and then learn another like creative structuring, that's also valuable, learning all these terms and then skill set and then apply it into a bigger scale because you want to scale to make money, and when you make more money you can help more people.
Right.
So we want to help people, that's why we are structuring, like we have this sessions here to connect everyone. So like if you needed some creative finance or structuring advices, if you can bring the deal to us, like I'm seeing this in the sense that you have underwritten the deal yourself. I'm not saying it has to go through, but then at least when you did the homework says, okay, the number makes sense. I'm gonna present it to Sergio. So at least we know
Right.
that you've done your homework instead of, oh, I think this deal makes sense. Let me just send over. That is completely different story, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have a base that you can present Jameer with numbers, Jameer is great with underwriting and commercials. He can give you the feedback. So we can do this hand in hand with you. There's no way you can do this alone because you can only go so far alone. But if you go as a team, like we can
Uh,
help you as a team, then we can help you expedite your process. It's going to be much faster.
right.
And then you don't feel as lonely in this process, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes everyone need a little, uplifting.
No, for sure, for sure. So can you find multifamilies on like on off market or on market or it doesn't really matter?
Well, if it's a deal, it's a deal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
It's just about
And
knowing what you look at. I
yeah,
literally just because I got started in real estate through tax liens and tax deeds. So I was taught a different skill than using online platforms like LoopNet, Crexy. Those are the main two. I was searching public records because I had to be able to pull uh like auction lists because they post that stuff on public records. You can see
Right.
every single property that's being foreclosed on and that's entering an auction. When I learned that skill, that process taught me a skill that I thought I probably wouldn't use again. And recently, literally just recently, I was like, how can I find, literally, once again, how can I find off market deals?
Yeah.
And I literally sat here and was like, wait a minute. I think I told you this story. I said, oh, well, You just Google like apartment buildings. And then I was like, wait a minute, why would I go through Google and go to Google Maps? There's an easier way. I go to apartments.com. That's where it's already filtered for me. I can find every single apartment building in the market that I'm looking at on apartments.com. What's the next step? I'm looking for off-market deals. I use a skill that I used in a different setting to go to the public records and find out who owns the building, what's their address, and how I can contact them.
Mm.
So you can find them. You can find them for anywhere because public records are public records. They tell you what company, who owns that building, what entity owns that building. You could do it for industrial, multifamily, self-storage, whatever you want. It's all about asking the question, how can I? You'll figure it out. Because you just using my engineering background, but you just opened a loop. Like, and the universe don't like open spaces. It don't like voids. It's going to fill that void because you asked, how can I? But once you say I can't, you close that loop and you don't make yourself susceptible to receive any more information to solve that problem.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's ways to do it. You just gotta ask. And another thing, Minnie was talking about raising capital. I'm in the process of working that muscle. That's a new muscle for me. Working that muscle, and there's different ways to raise capital. You can go to events, or you can use LinkedIn, and you don't need a course for this stuff. You can literally just listen to a podcast. I listen to a podcast. Now it's like I have to actually sit down and listen to it because I need to start writing stuff down because I'm active in it now.
Yeah.
So you sit down, you listen to it, or I know you got kids, or you just got a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a daughter. I understand what it means to be on borrowed time. Trust me. I got 2 6-year-olds. I know. So
Yeah.
but what that means is you just be more intentional with the time that you do have. You have a business to run because now you've entered this space. You got a business to run, bro.
Right. Yeah, true.
So now you get to think like a business owner.
How long did it take you to get to that point? Like, or did you just kind
What
of
point?
like,
Thinking like a business owner?
Yeah.
I just realized I had to think like a business owner in February. I had to start tracking my numbers because I went on an underwriting rampage. I was like, hey, bro, you need like get better at this. I'm still a student. I still go take a course. I don't know it all. And some people come from a different point of view that I've never heard before. So when you're constantly in that space, that's the business owner space. How can I get better? What do I need to learn? Because really, I don't know what I don't know. But I keep asking. Just because I don't know doesn't mean that I don't ask questions. And even if you don't know what questions to ask, that means it's just time for you to put yourself in spaces so people can answer questions that you don't know to ask. And then you take notes.
So kind of just getting involved.
Yeah, you just get involved, whether it's Facebook groups, you go through school, you start the school app. They may host calls, people posting in the chat, hey, I got a question, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and you'll be like, oh, I didn't even think of that question. Oh, okay. Like you just taking in information because you said like you fresh. You fresh, so you open to any and everything. And it's important to stay that way. But just like Minnie said, raising capital is the best skill that you can learn. Like you can learn to underwrite, but raising capital, everybody needs capital.
Facts.
So once
Once you
again,
learn
like
that, you can
initial
just go
time.
onto any team. Like that,
Yeah.
that is no, but seriously, it sounds like, quid pro quo, but who wouldn't want a guy or a person knowing how to raise capital, having the relationship? And then when you tag onto the team, you don't need them to pay you a salary. You can just ask for it because like there are so many teams out there, especially in sub two, or I'm pretty sure in other groups as well. They're buying multifamily, they're buying RV parks and whatnot. You can just be like, hey, you know what? I have connections. I can help you raise fund. And like Chris here, he is a gator. He's looking for lender and whatnot. He has deals coming into actually has sent me a deal previously. So you guys can connect, and then that's how you build relationship. And if you put yourself out, the thing is, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. Because if no one knows about you, then the opportunities won't come your way, right? If you think about it that way. Just keep
Right. True.
posting, just keep introducing yourself in different groups, in different platforms. And then once you've learned the skill set, then you can just say, hey, you know what? I know how to raise capital. Is there any chance I can tech onto your team? And then I can learn because you don't know what you don't know. So if you want to get into commercial or multifamily, find a team, tech on them, and then you learn what's behind the scene. What does a GP do? What do LP do? How do they delegate work? What is happening behind the scene from start to finish, right? Because it's so much more nuanced than single family home. Because just the lending process itself is harder. Like it's different than single family home. So there are just things that you don't, if you don't want to pay, then you just put in sweat equity, tack onto it. And then in return, because you're already in their team, so when they have their acquisition, you can then ask for equity in return. Doesn't matter if it's like 2%, 3%. That's still money coming in your pocket, right? And then you learn invaluable experience. So like you can't lose in that sense, right?
Right.
And there are three key aspects of any deal. It's the deal itself, it's going to be the money, and it's going to be the time. So you got to I mean, you don't have to do anything, but figuring out which one of those you could really bring to the table is going to be a really important question. Because whoever you talk to that's on that team, they're going to ask you. That's going to be the question. Well, what do you bring to the table? And
Right.
figuring out what you bring to the table is going to always be the most important question. That's just for anybody. Like I know what I bring to the table. That's my leverage. What do you, Marquise Jackson, bring to the table? And I will write that down.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I
I
used
definitely write that down.
Claude to reformulate my LinkedIn, by the way, just so you can just be like, can you act as a LinkedIn strategist or, brand strategist? And this is my profile. Copy and paste it onto Claude and then have it to rephrase the about every section that like you want to give them your goal, right? Like, do you want to be a business owner? Do you want to be a lender? Like what kind of audience you want to attract? So you got to be honest of what you are and what you have accomplished instead of letting it embellish. And then again, like embellishing to a certain point, that's great. Don't lie and then have nothing to back up.
Right.
I feel like we just gave you a fire hose and told you to drink from it.
Jameer, I think you can give your 2 cents here because when we were talking about multifamily, because it's not necessarily in the same state, and we definitely don't want to. Obviously, every guru out there will tell you to start looking in your backyard, but then, Marquis, you're living in California, so you don't
Yeah.
really have a landlord-friendly state. So this is something that you wanna take note because whatever house, like if you want to do house hack or multifamily, you my personal preference, I would want to be in a state where I can evict tenant easily if they are problematic. Not like I want to just kick them out because I want to raise my rent. But then you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money and time. Like I don't know about California. It could take 6 months to kick out a tenant who doesn't pay rent. Then what are you going to
Mhm.
do? Right. So this is why I personally encourage people to look for, properties in state where it's landlord friendly.
Right.
So if it's
Okay.
not in your backyard, then you gotta have to figure out how to make it work. And Chris was talking about foot on the ground. So what's your
Yeah.
take on that, Jameer?
Well, first and foremost, yes, California may not be the best place to be investing in your backyard. Um,
Where you guys from?
so
You from Atlanta, Jameer?
I lived in Atlanta for 18 months. Would I go back?
Oh,
Absolutely.
right.
I'm from Philly. From
Really?
Philly, moved to Atlanta, moved back. Yeah.
What about you,
Um,
Minnie and Chris?
I'm in
Where you guys
Toronto.
from?
I'm
Toronto?
completely
Me,
out of state.
I'm currently in Arizona, but I grew up in Atlanta.
Oh,
Nice.
But I've been here in Arizona for 12 years. But I I do gotta announce something. Uh I ain't a gator, but I do got connection to a gator and a couple more other lenders as well. But I am bird dogging at the moment for one of Pace's um guys, Abraham Gray. And he is located in Atlanta, which that's basically my my area, and I am looking up deals there, and also I also got connections, leads, and deals here as well in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, all around. So creative, sub two. So that's basically where I'm at so far.
yeah. Marquis, take down his contact on the side chat.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yeah, because you wanna have network all over, like Chris was saying, boots on the ground, right? So if you found something, if you have a buy box, you want something, have Chris to look into it. And then if you
Right.
guys want to structure anything, if you need help with structuring anything or, put something together, we are here to help. So you basically already have a team here. You just gotta hop onto the call,
Okay.
Right.
and
right?
that's
Because
that's
we're
really important.
always sharing
Yeah.
information. I mean, we will share information to the best of our knowledge. As I said, I am a newbie. I, to be completely transparent, I only started my journey last year, I think in May
Okay.
or something. I started with Grant Cardone. Therefore, I learned about multifamily
Oh,
home first. But
okay.
I've also heard a lot about like my thing is I have shiny object symptoms, like a lot of other people. And then I hear multifamily home, yeah, I'm interested. And then there's also like Section 8 and whatnot. But the one thing I wouldn't do is that I just go because of the hype. People are hyping up certain strategies, like now RV parks or mobile home parks. Then you're going to be spread thin. I would want to know what I'm getting myself into. So before you dive in, I want to buy business and whatnot, but can I manage it? Like, Marquis, I admire you because if you buy
Right.
a business, then you will have to manage it, right? That's not what I want to take on as another job. And I voice out the reason how I met. Well, Jameer is actually in my Grant Cardone group. That's how we met. And he
Okay.
knows me for at least a year now. And he knows my weaknesses is not I openly admit that I'm not great at numbers. Then I'll reach out. I'm not afraid. The thing is, you can't be afraid to admit your weakness. Because if you're like, oh, how do I filter deals and whatnot, then you gotta learn, you gotta ask the questions, you gotta associate yourself with people who are great with handling those and tell them, hey, can you teach me this? So you gotta be coachable. When you are open-minded, then we will be able to step in and help you. But first of all, you gotta do your homework.
Right.
Therefore, I was saying if you have a number put down together and then send it to Jameer, have him to have a look or send it to us, we can have a look and see if you got the numbers wrong. Because we're not going to see you crash. We are not going to do the deal for you. We're going to make you sit at the driver's seat. You're going to have to talk to seller. We can have Jameer on the phone with you just to provide you some guidance or step in where needed.
Hmm.
But then you're still going to do your work and we're just going to be the driving instructor. If we are here to prevent you from crushing, because if anything were to happen, we're gonna be like, stop, break, right? So therefore, you need to come on our session and then share, like if you have any deals in your pipeline, if you're comfortable in sharing, we appreciate your trust. But you will also want us to sign an NDA if you were to disclose any property that is not under contract and whatnot. That goes for every single person. Even that is to your friends, your sister, your, I don't know, business partner.
So, meaning when I go to look at the business and he wants to talk numbers and he doesn't bring up an NDA, should I ask him, hey, can we sign an NDA first? Would that be the professional thing to do?
Or you want to do, well, if they don't ask for it, I mean, you're asking them for it. So it's kind of weird for you to ask them to sign an NDA because
Yeah,
you're
so I'm saying, like,
asking
should I
the
ask
business,
them?
right? But
Or
I'm
ask
saying
you?
like you to us, like if the business is like so carefree, they don't care, then honestly, if you don't care, I wouldn't care.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy, am I doing this right?
Yeah, no, I don't think, and you can, but I wouldn't. I don't think you need to go that far necessarily because it's just you and him. Like
Yeah,
you're not giving him any information.
right,
He's giving you all the information. So he will want you to sign an
right.
NDA. And then he's trusting you with this information that he's giving you.
What if
So
he doesn't have me sign an NDA and he just shows me everything? That's fine too. Like, that's not a red flag. I'm saying, like it's not. There's nothing.
nah, people do it. Brokers do that in real estate all the time. Seller seems like he trusts you. If
Yeah.
you go to a broker, a business broker, they'll probably have you sign an NDA.
One thing Jameer touched on is portfolio. So therefore we stress on relationships so much. Like do not ever lie because if you have a good relationship with a seller, with a broker, when they trust you, they're gonna give you more information. You don't know that maybe your one property lead to four other properties. Like because they trust you, they're gonna be like, hey, you know what? I actually have other properties that I want to sell as more, maybe as a whole, like as a portfolio. So you
Yeah.
might actually get a great deal out of it. But if you lied, then you might have lost on a lot. It's not just a relationship, it's a lot of revenues too. Because you don't know what one property may lead to. And sometimes when you close on one deal and they will come back to you and say, hey, Marquise, it's been 3 years. I have like now I just really want to get rid of my portfolios and travel the world. It happens. Like I have 5 or 10 properties. Are you able to take them all? So therefore, you wanna be like precious what you have learned, what everyone have learned to talk about, you pretend to be someone you're not. This is a reason why, because you're gonna get busted in the long run. In real estate, unless you just want to find today's money. If you wanna do this in the long run, you want to have like now I'm trying to help you guys connect, then you'll have put on the ground. Like you can ask Chris for information, what's in your market right now that any commercial deals that I can look at, family homes and whatnot. Then that's how you build and expand your network.
Okay.
And another thing I like to touch topic on, always make sure you have a buyer that's in the market that you're looking under. That's also very important also, because you can also get all the houses and not even have a buyer. And what is all them houses going to do for you? It's going to just sit there. And once you know that the seller or the agent that's bringing you the deals or whatever is going to be like, all right, basically he ain't selling nothing for me, so basically there goes his chance. So you're gonna always want to keep the relationship going and always showing that you're basically trustworthy on whatever they bring you. So always make sure you have a buyer always in hand of whatever market that you're looking. So you're gonna basically look under Atlanta or wherever your own backyard. Just get on there and say, hey, who's a buyer, who's buying, but also make sure they're real buyers because there's also a lot of fake buyers out there. that people who claim they're to be buyers and that won't even that will just actually just take your deals and just keep it for themselves once you pass them the information. So you got to also
That's why
be
NDA.
yes,
Right.
that's exactly what she said. So you just
Okay.
gotta always be careful about that.
Don't get into deals that is urgent, because a lot of people, they create urgency, especially if you're not an expert in this area. Do not fall into the FOMO. Yeah, this is like foreclosure, the numbers looks good. Unless you're an expert where you can do napkin NOI calculation, that definitely can make it work. Otherwise, do not do it, because when you have emotions flooding in, you're gonna be blinded by so many things, right? Like you don't see a lot of red flags. I would rather take the time to understand the deal and miss out on the so-called good deal that's in foreclosure. That's great value. I would rather miss out on that than got myself into a deal that I don't have a buyer after, or you're stuck with a property that you don't want, you don't know about, or you, because you don't have the time to do due diligence, right? Because normally when you sign a deal, you have about like 30 days for a single family home, and for commercial about 45 days ish. At least you have the due diligence period. But then when people are telling me I'm in foreclosure, the bank's gonna take over and take it an auction in 5 days. What can you do to protect yourself? You don't want to get yourself into that mess. I don't care if the agent is telling you like, yeah, it's urgent, whatever. Don't. It's just not at my level, not at your level.
Right.
And then they could be rushing you. It doesn't matter if they're desperate, you're not. That the problem is the main issue is we are not going to act desperate. Chris, do you have any deals going on right now?
I do got a couple deals here in Arizona that
Okay.
a agent has sent over, and
Okay.
I do got to call this a couple agents up for the ones in Atlanta. I just haven't got the chance. I've been just super busy.
Yeah.
I
Have
even
your consolidate your buyer list on a Google. I just feel like at this day and age, if you're still writing everything on a notebook where technology is available, how am I
right on
going
the
to
phone.
trust you? Yeah, like back it up, because you don't want to be like, I lost my phone and I don't have my contact anymore.
Correct.
I learned that when I was producing music.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
backed up everything. I put it on the computer and I put it on the external hard drive.
You can download Google Drive on your phone as long as you have a Gmail account. There's no excuse. Put your buyers list on it. If it has to be like you share your data to multiple email accounts, so if
Yes.
it's important information, I can access it anywhere. I want us to look professional. When you act professional, then that's how you will present yourself to seller and broker as well. I am an investor myself.
Yeah.
That's how I do things. When we evaluate things, when we buy things, we don't just buy the deal. That's also another thing that I want to touch on. I also buy the person.
Okay.
If Jameer comes to me, have a property, if the number doesn't look good, I trust that he will either make it look good, that make it workable for the LPs, which is the investors, or that he'll tell me, you know what, don't do this deal. It's not worth it. Let's not do it. I would trust a person. So this
Correct.
is why building a relationship matters so much.
Correct.
So this is why, all these calls like helping you guys connect and then build a portfolio in one way or the other. If you cannot close a deal when you promise to, you jeopardize a relationship.
That's integrity right there. You can't close the deal. Wasted their time. They could have made some money somewhere else, and now that that's one currency that you can't get back this time.
I would
Oh.
strongly suggest you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because oftentimes I would cut it into like smaller lessons, and you can rewatch the playback if you cannot join our live call.